Hello and welcome to RCGC Today. I'm your host, Diane Carbonetta. I'm standing here in the college's newly renamed Give Back Scholars Library. Rowan College at Gloucester County recently became the first community college in the country to receive a historic gift from philanthropist, author, and entrepreneur Robert Carr and his nonprofit organization, Give Something Back. This $500,000 donation, the largest in the college's history, will provide a debt-free education to academically ambitious, lower-income students. Here's a look at some highlights from the announcement.
We are here today to celebrate. We are here to celebrate the generosity and the vision of Bob Carr. Give Back as an organization that's doing wonderful work around this country. And as I told Mr. Carr just now, I bought into his vision from the day I met him, read his book, tried to understand what his vision was at that time, and tried to find a spot for us here at Rowan College to work our way into the partnership of Give Back. And we have. Hubert Humphrey said the measure of government is kind of looked at with regard to how they serve the people, the young, the old, the elderly, the disabled. And he mentions an individual group called those in the shadows. And I think today somewhat reflects on that moment, because I think today, yes, is a recognition of generosity and vision of one man and now an organization that he directs. It's also recognizing the partnership of the two Rowans, the university and the college, of which I'm thrilled to be a part with Dr. Hushman. But it also, I believe, just quickly in my introductory comment, is more important to this idea of those in the shadow. That is the measure of not an institution in this case, but the measure of a person. And again, I was always taught that the measure of that person is how you will treat others in need. And I don't think you can find a better example than what Bob Carr has done to create this model of give back, to allow individuals to find a way to get the gift of higher education. And it is a tremendous, tremendous gift. We are now the first community college, a 2-year partner in the Give Back Network. We're thrilled. We want to push ahead and prove that this model, this type of institution, that we feel we're in a very unique position to allow young people to come here, because we can connect with them more aggressively in the middle school and the high school aspect of their life. And once we work with Give Back, First Star, others, Melissa and her staff, we can hopefully provide the support to get an individual to aspire and recognize that they can go to college and come here to do so.
Education isn't equally accessible to everyone, is it? Cost is a major factor. You know, there's a lot of issues facing our young men and women growing up today. But what they shouldn't have to worry about is their accessibility to college. And there's not a better place to talk about affordability than where we are today. Rowan College, in conjunction with Rowan University, what, as I would say, surrounded by two presidents, and what they're able to do, because they understand the neighborhood they live in. Those who attend here are not always coming from family of means who are able to afford this. Bob Carr, he wants to level that playing field by giving back.
Total amount of gift to both Rowan and Rowan College of Gloucester County is $1.5 million. So let's assume that we go ahead and recruit Pell-eligible students to this program. Kids from all walks of life, irrespective of their SAT, GPA, where they graduated, as long as they have a high school diploma and they get into this program. There is a whole degree program right now in this college that costs exactly $25,000. So if we were to do that, that $1.5 million divided by 3,125, that gives you 120 souls. So let's assume tomorrow I bring 120 kids. They get into this program. They don't have to pay a penny for 4 years. They get their degrees. And now let's assume these kids become productive taxpayers and they go and get employment, they get a job. Wouldn't that be the greatest investment that this state could make? And multiply this kind of gift and provide these kind of opportunities to so many kids in this country who can become great taxpayers rather than a burden to our society. That's the power of this gift. And it has so many multipliers because those 120 kids later on, they become givers too. Not only do they become successful citizens, they go and buy a house, get married, have kids, send them to college, and at the same time they become productive citizens, and they will do the same by giving to the future generation. That's the power of giving.
I first met Bob Carr when he walked into a classroom at Rowan University to meet 30 foster youth, children who, through no fault of their own, faced instability over the course of their lives due to child abuse and neglect. Bob received a scholarship from the Lockport Women's Club when he was a senior in high school, a gesture that was so meaningful to him that he vowed on that day that if he ever achieved financial success, that he would give back to others in the same way. And on this day in July, when he entered the classroom, Bob had become one of the most successful business people in America. And there, on that day, he followed through on a decades-old vow he made to himself and Mrs. Robert Drake, and he awarded all 30 young people with a college scholarship, a ladder of opportunity, and a chance to break the cycle of poverty and abuse. In fact, Bob Carr has funded more than $35 million in college scholarships in 7 states. Today, Rowan College at Gloucester County becomes the first community college in America to join the Give Back Network. And together, we will deliver on the promise of a college education for those who need it the most, and those we are counting on to be our inventors, our teachers, our doctors, and leaders of our community.
From the day I was born, I wasn't given a fair shot. I wasn't able to hear out of my left ear, nor had the ability to talk or be understood until the age of 5. I wasn't able to keep up with my peers cognitively. I was always one of the ones that were counted out. The supposed role models in my life often try to bring me down. The role models that we call our teachers, guidance counselors, and even coaches. I later had surgery on my left ear so that I can hear without using a hearing aid. I began speaking full sentences and started to articulate what others were expressing to me. I started to excel, not just academically, but in life. I started to challenge and set goals for myself. No one thought the kid who couldn't hear or talk would go on to travel, be prom king, or even model in a fashion show. And not only that, stand before you guys today. Now, I'm going to be the first in my family to go to college. This is my shot to represent countless young men and women that have faced hardships and challenges in their lives. I would like to thank my parents for pushing me to be great, the Rowan Choice Program for helping me proceed, and for this opportunity, I have to give something back.
We started off our scholarship program simply, I gave back to the Women's Club for this scholarship. And that was going to be it. But we had such a tremendous reaction to our program back in 2003 that we decided to continue it on. And a college education is worth it, but starting college and dropping out is a disaster. And that disaster has happened to 40 million Americans. We want to stop that as much as we possibly can. And we want to let young people know that there is hope. And so that's why we pick students in the 9th grade, and we want to pick them even earlier. Because you can get a 9th grader who doesn't think they have a chance to go to college and show the way that they can go to college. When we started this program, we picked 60 kids to fill 50 seats. All 60 of those kids that were in 9th grade 4 years ago are in college today. We didn't lose one kid. Our kids are successful, and these young people that are in our program now, they're not going to mess up our statistics, are you? And why RCGC and why Rowan? Well, these two gentlemen here are the reasons. We want for this part of New Jersey to be a role model that we can build upon throughout the country. And we think that this is going to be one of the centerpieces of our entire program.
This college is now, as the first community college in the network, in a very unique position. And again, as I said earlier, we're going to take it very seriously. The people that are here, many of whom work in the Rowan Choice Program, our financial aid, our student service division with counseling and advising, we're going to wrap our arms around these young people. And we're going to make sure that we do everything we can in our power to make this a successful experience. And we're optimistic and confident that we will. To my colleagues, friends, to Bob Carr, to give back to the students that are here today. Many of you who are now students at this college, I say welcome, Roadrunners. We're thrilled to have you here, and we're going to take good care of you, and we're going to send you on to Rowan University or other schools. But we'd like you to go to Rowan University, stay in the family, get a great education, and as everyone said, take that education and really move forward, and then you give something back.
Discover a better way to pursue your education at Rowan College at Gloucester County. RCGC offers in-demand degrees, flexible schedule choices, and the best tuition value in New Jersey. Visit rcgc.edu to register.
Welcome back to RCGC Today. Joining us next, we have Yavanka Brooks, EOF Programs Administrator, and Chris Martin, MILE Administrator. They're here to tell us about a new initiative designed to improve the college experience for minority students. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We're very pleased you could be here. So, Yavanka, the college recently announced the creation of a new Minority Initiative in Leadership and Excellence, or MILE program. Can you tell us a little bit about the goals for that program and the inspiration behind it?
The program was initiated and spearheaded by President Keaton. It was designed to address the retention and graduation rates of our minority students. So the inspiration and the concept is to provide responsive advising. There's a mentorship component. Some of the goals of the program are to increase academic support. We have college tours. We have a community service component. There's many components that will help our students to achieve the academic success while they're here at RCGC.
Now, a number of different partners came together to make MILE possible. What were some of their contributions?
The college, of course. When students graduate and they're transferring, they have the fee will be waived. We have the foundation, which offers a transfer scholarship, as well as Barnes & Nobles. They've happily provided a book scholarship in the amount of $500 for the academic school year. So we're very pleased.
Now, Chris, I know you have a lot of big plans in place for MILE. What are some of the experiences that students will have as part of this program?
Well, it's going to be, a myriad of events and activities planned for the young people. One of the main things I think we're really excited about is the community interaction that's going to happen. We really want them to get involved with giving back, and a lot of things happening with the volunteer center here on campus. So that's really one large aspect, and the mentorship. I think the mentorship program that's going to be in place is going to be something that hasn't happened on campus to the extent that we're going to do it. And I think the young people involved in that part of the program will be very excited and have an opportunity that some of the other students don't have. And plus just the personal aspect of us dealing with the kids. There's some advocacy going on, especially with myself, where I'm the hands-on person, and I'm going to make sure that they're, getting what they're supposed to get and helping them through this myriad of things that sometimes happens on college campuses.
Now, it's interesting that you bring up the mentorship, because in addition to providing mentors to the students, you're also encouraging them and preparing them to kind of become peer mentors themselves, aren't you?
Yes. The whole idea of the program is to make these young people leaders, because we feel as they become leaders, especially on campus, they'll take that into society and into the community. We want to be linked into the community, having the young people learn how to be leaders through being mentors of other students on campus. And once we transition to our next cohort of students, these students will kind of mentor and lead those that are coming along. So it's something exciting.
Now, what kind of eligibility requirements are in place for MILE?
Well, initially, of course, they have to be minority students, based the name of the program. And New Jersey residents, specifically Gloucester County residents. That is the ultimate criteria right there. But they also have some things as far as not being in default of loans, because some things are financially aid-based, being in the program. But those two things are the highest part of the criterion. But and academically, we want them to not be towards the end of their stay at the college, so kind of early in their experience, usually less than 30 credits. And right now, we had a little stipulation of a GPA requirement, but it will possibly not have one in the future because we want to be all-inclusive, as well as the county requirement. At some point, we may have all counties involved that's at the campus.
Well, it sounds like a great step towards increasing support for minority students. Thank you both so much for stopping by to fill us in.
Okay,
Thank you
for having
us. Yes.
We'll be back in a moment with more RCGC Today.
Work around your schedule with Rowan College at Gloucester County's expanding selection of online degrees. Just added business administration degree and an HR management degree. Visit rcgc.edu to register.
Welcome back to RCGC Today. Rowan College at Gloucester County is committed to doing everything it can to support military veterans and their families. On Veterans Day, the college unveiled designated parking to make it easier for veterans to attend classes and visit the campus. Immediately following the dedication, a ceremony was held honoring those who have served our country. I hope you enjoy these highlights.
Today, we are gathered to honor and pay tribute to our community of veterans. To all those who have served and to all those who are currently serving, thank you and your families for your sacrifice.
I have been told that there are currently over 150 veterans on this campus, including students, staff, faculty, and administration. Would all the veterans who are with us here today please stand if you are able so we can thank you for your service. Ladies and gentlemen, you are what makes this country so great. You are our heroes through wartime, peacetime, at home and abroad. Those of you who have worn the country's uniform deserve not only our gratitude, but our respect. We shall always remember the sacrifices made by you and your family.
We do everything we can to make this what we have now been recognized as a military-friendly college. The people that are here today that are employees of the college in student services, financial aid, the academic arena, all are here with the idea that they're fully dedicated to assist a veteran who seeks an education as possibly one small gift we can give to a veteran after they have served this country to allow them to get on with their lives and to assist them with the idea of, again, a higher education. So we're thrilled, we're proud to again be a military-friendly college, and we welcome the County of Gloucester officials and all of our other dignitaries here as we celebrate Veterans Day. It means a lot to me today, and it means a lot to all of us to really take this moment to just stop and think about those that served, again, this country.
So my students came to me during one of our meetings and asked if they could give an award to a veteran, do a Veteran of the Year. And for me, I was excited. My father was in the Army for 28 years. Myself, I will be starting my career with the Air Force in January. So for me, I thought it was a great honor for my students to do this.
Volunteerism, leadership, character, community service. These are all the qualities that are demonstrated throughout our Gold Club. This year, the Gold Club would like to present the Veteran of the Year award to a military service student who has demonstrated integrity first, service before self, and excellence in everything they have done. This student has helped and participated with Operation Stand Down, Vet-to-Vet tutoring, and Students Veterans Organization. This student will also receive a certificate, a gift card, and their name plated on a plaque that will hang outside the Veterans Affairs Office. The first recipient of the 2017 Gold Club Veterans of the Year Award is Mr. Nicholas Smith. Please join me at the podium.
"27 years ago, I was preparing myself to participate in a war. I never even dreamed of participating in a war. My part in the war, while it's not as dramatic as some, it did play a very important part in it. During Operation Desert Shield, as it started heating up, the Coast Guard was looking for volunteers. I was going over there, and I was participating with a Coast Guard port security unit. I had no idea where I was going, what I was doing, and who I'd be serving with. First part of my trip was to get everything squared away at home. As a 23-year-old kid, nobody tells you you're going to have to turn around, write out a will, get a power of attorney, and have your life in order within a matter of 2 weeks. And fortunately for me, I had a good support mechanism at home. The Coast Guard had a simple mission. We had to secure 3 ports in the Arabian Gulf. We had Dammam, Dhahran, and Al Jubail. I would eventually end up in Al Jubail. We spent a total of 22 hours in the air, longest flight I've ever been on. Hope I never have to do it again. But once we got to Dhahran, I remember distinctly walking off the plane, and as we walked off the plane, the heat from the desert just smacked me in the face. It was the weirdest feeling I ever had in my life. Some of the early culture shocks I experienced early on was the heat, the sandstorms, the way females were treated over there. Heat was averaging anywhere from 110 to 120 during the day, would dip down into the 70s at night. It was weird that we were wearing winter jackets in the middle of a desert. Some of the other issues we dealt with were the sandstorms, where it felt like your skin was just being sandblasted. The other thing that was weird was the lack of sunlight. Because of the oil well fires and where we were deployed, every day was cloudy over there. At nighttime, we would come in to take showers, and the oil would just run off of our skin because of the exposure to the smoke and oil. At this point, we started taking over the port area, and it was our area of responsibility was approximately 25 square miles. We had a port that was about 5 miles long, and we extended out into the Arabian Gulf 5 miles. So everything after the 5-mile mark, the U.S. Navy patrolled. Our mission on the water was simple. It was to secure the port. We had a lot of equipment, personnel, and munitions moving through our port. Our port was the last port before they entered the Iraq area, and they more or less sent everything through our port, merchant marine vessels, Navy vessels, everything you can imagine. Our job was to secure it, make sure everything moved through securely with no problem. Anything that came out of the wild, whether it was a terrorist incident or some local radical, we were charged with neutralizing the threat. As the months rolled on, the buildup kept going on. Buildup was in high gear. Air war began. So did the bombings. We had a Harrier jet base right behind our Coast Guard base. So you can only imagine living on the end of a pier on a cot and having Harrier jets taking off and landing on a regular basis. There wasn't much time for sleep out there because it was just horrendous. The noise that those Harriers make taking off and landing. As the op tempo increased, so did our lack of sleep. And as I said, the buildup came to a head in January. The 4-day war began, and little did we know 4 days later that war would end. But our mission didn't. Our mission was still in place. We had to defend our area until we were relieved by the Saudi Coast Guard personnel. The one major thing that we got to do was go up into Kuwait and reopen the harbor as the war was winding down. And some of the sights and smells that we experienced going through Khafji and Kuwait, there was a road called the Road of Death, and it was a 5-mile stretch of road there, and it was all carpet bombed area. It was something I'll never forget as we proceeded through that area to open the harbor. As we opened the harbor in Kuwait, that was our final mission. We got our aircraft scheduled. We proceeded home, and when our first stop on the way home was Shannon, Ireland, where they refueled the plane and then refueled us with beer. We got back to New York, and I couldn't believe the welcome we got home. I got to participate in both the ticker tape parade in New York and D.C. and many other functions. New York treated us like kings. In closing, my experiences forced me to grow up a lot faster than a normal 23-year-old. I was exposed to foreign cultures and life issues that normal 23-year-olds will never understand. I saw things a 23-year-old should never have to see. Even after coming home, it still took time to get acclimated. Things we take for granted every day I had been missing were starting to hit me. My boss, Sheriff Hogan, was very understanding and offered me whatever time I needed to stay home and make sure I was ready to work. To this day, certain smells and sights will take me right back to where I was in 1991. After it was all said and done, I'm glad I volunteered. The brothers I served with, they are now a permanent part of my family, and there's a bond that never will be broken. Even though some of them have passed on, I will never forget those I served with. I would like to leave you with one quote from President Ronald Reagan. Some people live an entire lifetime and wonder if they've ever made a difference in the world. A veteran does not have that problem.
That's a special person, a very special person who decided to put everything aside to go out into the world, representing this great nation, knowing that at any time they could be called to a moment that might change their families' lives forever. To those less than 1% who've put our uniform on of this great country, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Today is for remembering. Stand in honor of them. Walk in their path of duty. Remember the cause and hold in your heart the cause of freedom. We remember today Veterans Day, our veterans. God bless them.
Discover a better way to pursue your education at Rowan College at Gloucester County. RCGC offers in-demand degrees, flexible schedule choices, and the best tuition value in New Jersey. Visit rcgc.edu to register.
That's all for this episode of RCGC Today. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll leave you with some highlights from the Give Back Scholars Library dedication.